My god, dudes, this is it! Half Pint actually released this video? Yeah, that's correct. Today, we're going to be talking about Overture. But not only are we going to be talking about how this arm works, but we're going to be going into the nitty-gritty, the mechanics of how you can particularly use this weapon to max out your damage. And of course, we'll be going over the damage numbers. It's about damn time! I think we're finally going to get into it. Let's get this, boys. First things first, before we get into the arm itself, let's talk about how we're going to calculate the damage. How are we going to get this? Where's the average? Where's the average damage amount that we're going to need? Well, we're going to go based off the breakage move. It's important to note that we recorded all of our stats within the Son of Sparta game mode when it came to the Void. Now, I almost screwed myself over because I didn't realize at first that the damage values actually change depending on which mode you're playing on, and I happened to record it in the Son of Sparta mode by accident. Whoops. A lot of these numbers would have been a lot cleaner if I recorded a Devil Hunter mode, but I didn't know that beforehand. I'm not really wanting to go back and rechange the numbers, but you want whatever. Best way to calculate the damage. When using breakage, when it came to the default Devil Hunter mode, you did 100 damage. Alright? That's pretty good. That's like 100% damage. It's pretty solid for the normal mode. That way it's that much easier to calculate the damage on any other mode. Like for instance, human mode, you do 150 damage. Okay, well, you're doing 1.5 times more damage. That's pretty good. With Son of Sparta mode, you're doing 75 damage for breakage. And then DMD mode, you're doing 50 damage. Guys, that's half the damage! You're doing half the damage on DMD mode. Those guys who were fighting the bullet sponges, they weren't bullet sponges. You're literally doing half the damage as before. Plus they get the double triggers, which definitely doesn't help. But you know what? The more you know. Also, a little fun fact for you, Hell in Hell mode does 75 damage, meaning that you're doing Son of Sparta damage on Hell in Hell mode. That's good to hear. In case you guys need the confidence to go back and do Hell in Hell mode, there you go. Alright, but enough mumbo jumbo. Let's get into this, the nitty gritty. The Overture itself. When recording the base damage, you do 210 damage with the Overture move. Alright, that's pretty good. I like that a lot. When doing any of the directional moves, you actually do more damage. 263 to be precise. Now, a lot of these numbers do fluctuate. Sometimes you'll do 263, 264. Not really sure why they change by value of 1, but sometimes they just do it that way. Now with that being said, there's a lot of different things you can do when executing these moves. Granted, you could jump in the air and just use the base move, which still does 210, but you can also utilize that directional move whenever you get the chance, because now you know, yeah, you actually do more damage when using that particular move. For instance, going to the Queen and Pusa, if you're right in front of the Queen and Pusa, you'll automatically do an upwards attack on the Queen. Kind of weird how that works, but hey, free extra damage right there. I'm a fan. Of course, you can always just jump on top of an enemy and just do it that way. Speaking of which, I see a lot of people doing the jump cancel attack when it comes to Overture. Honestly, I would not recommend it. First time you do damage, you'll do base damage. But afterwards, you'll lose all damage. You'll be doing 30, 20, 15 damage. That's weak sauce at its finest. If you want to do jump cancels, maybe once, maybe twice, but don't do it any more than that. The jump cancels for this move are not very efficient. You're wasting damage and you're wasting time, and you're also leaving yourself vulnerable, which is definitely something you do not want to have. Alright, but enough of that. What we want to hear is the new ultimate ability for Overture. What does it do? What's the damage? Alright, so when first latching Overture onto an enemy, it does an initial 60 damage. Okay, well that's not really much. When the explosion goes off, you do a total of 487 damage, plus the 60 prior. That's a pretty good amount of damage. Now granted, that doesn't include any of the gun damage, but also important to note that the gun damage does not multiply or enhance the prior damage. Gun damage is separate, it's by itself, it does not add to it. Alright, so what happens when we latch on more arms? Well, this is when things start to get interesting. When latching multiple arms, you'll start to see two separate explosions. The initial arm that you shoot, and the second explosion of all the arms going off at once. No matter how many arms you put on, there will always be two explosions. So we know with one arm, you do 487 damage from the explosion alone. With two arms, the initial explosion will be 528 damage. That's pretty good. Again, not including gun damage. The second explosion will do 1,125 damage. Not too shabby if you ask me. That's a total of 1,653 damage. Honestly, not that bad. And of course, if you do whatever charge shot or regular shot you want to do, that'll add more damage to that explosion alone. Now, when latching on 3 arms, you'll see an initial impact of 675, with a second explosion of 2,025 damage. That's a total of 2,700 damage. Now, that's 1,047 damage difference from 2 arms to 3 arms. That's pretty good. Now, this next arm is when things get interesting. When latching on 4 arms, you still do an initial impact of 675. This trend continues no matter how many arms you put on. I actually haven't been able to put on more than 5 arms. I didn't even record the stats for 5 arms either, but trust me, it's not going to matter after you see what comes up next. The second explosion does 2,700 damage. That's a total of 3,375 damage. Ladies and gentlemen, that's only a difference of 675 damage from the prior arm. That means you are technically losing damage by latching on 4 arms. It would be more beneficial to latch 3 arms and save that other arm to latch on to another arm instead. Now granted, 1 arm by itself does 487 and you're getting 675 more damage with 4 arms, but still more beneficial to latch on 2 separate arms than use 4 arms general. You're literally wasting a spot. Really interesting stuff right there. With that being said, there's all sorts of cool stuff that you can do when it comes to using Overture. In fact, Overture is actually one of my favorite arms. I feel like it's a real sleeper hit when it comes to the entire roster of arms that Nero has. A lot of people really skip out on this arm when it has a good amount of damage. Now granted, the jump cancel doesn't really work as effectively as some people may think it does, but overall the damage is really good, really satisfying. The animation time can be slow, but there are ways around skipping it, especially doing it in air, jumping off enemies and all that sort of stuff. I think all in all it's a very satisfying, well-rounded arm, and honestly I think it's a really good pick when it comes to Nero's signature arm when he's showcasing it throughout the game. Speaking of showcasing, we're quickly going to take a look at what it looks like when this arm is in the hands of a pro. Take a look at this gameplay and I'll be back right afterwards. Overture is definitely an arm you do not want to sleep on at all. Thanks to my buddy Devil Never Cry for the gameplay footage. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description box below for you guys to check out his channel. Be sure to give it a little bit of love. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a positive rating as it goes really far for the channel. I really do appreciate it. Of course, you can also share it so that we can get this video out to more people because more ARM videos are coming out in the future. And of course, I'll be finishing off this series with comparing all the ARMs and ranking them, with and without the DLC arms, so you guys want to stick around for that. Sharing the video also helps it get out to more people because I'm sure a lot more people are going to want to see this when it comes to conquering that new Bloody Palace mode that just came out. Be sure to let me know what you guys think about Overture down in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching a long time, but not a hard time. And I'll see you guys next time.